Hank Harrison. Hank, I mean, what's your motive? I mean, fine, you might have your suspicions, but any father who actively accuses their own daughter of murder has got to have a hidden agenda, and I wonder what yours might be.
No hidden agenda whatsoever. I'm right out in front about everything. My feelings are, I'm caught in a conflict. I have a very heavy conflict going because, on one hand, I'd like to be the stereotypical father that you'd like me to be. On the other hand...
You haven't been.
Well, I'd like to be.
Never were.
I'd like to be.
Are you trying to make a lot of money off of it?
No. But if you'd let me finish my sentence, what I'm trying to say is that I'd like to be that, and I'd like to make people happy. But the truth is, there are about 100,000 people out there that have taken drugs because Courtney set a bad example, and I'd like to get to the bottom of it myself.
But you're sort of avoiding the question here. Why are you doing this?
Well, you know, why don't you ask the Unabomber's brother? I mean, there's...
Whoa.
There's...
Whoa. Are you trying to tell me that you see yourself the way you see Ted Kaczynski's brother in this?
Well, you know, he came out as a hero for turning Kaczynski in, and I'm just looking like a jerk. And it doesn't make any sense for me even to be here if people don't understand that my motive is to get to the bottom of it. There isn't anybody else in our family that's got the guts to come forward.
When was the last time you talked to your daughter?
In 93. September 93.
So it was a full year before this even happened.
Yes, but at that time I had sensed there was something wrong in the marriage, and also...
Here, from the other side is the way you look, okay? Here is Courtney Love. Her career is skyrocketing. She's had hit movies. She's had big nominations in movies.
Yeah, but the real hit movie is her in that movie is really the real Courtney Love. In other words, the real Courtney is the the Larry Flint movie. That's the real Courtney. She wasn't even acting. I've seen her that way. I've seen her wiped out on drugs. I've had to detox her in my own living room.
Let me answer your question. You asked whether we believe Hank. We investigated Hank quite thoroughly, because we were very suspicious of his motives, anybody that would say these things about his own daughter. Everything that Courtney said about Hank is not true. She says that he gave her acid when she was 3, and that it's in the court records. We investigated those court records. Didn't happen. She said she's only seen him 10 times in her life. That's not true. She lived with him for many different periods. We have the documents to prove that. However, everything she says about Hank, those are lies. But it's important to remember, Hank never met KURT. So that's what we say about Hank, that a lot of what he says about the actual death has to be taken with a little grain of salt.
We have to break off this because we have to move on to other stories. But as we leave this, you interviewed a man named Tom Grant, who was originally hired by Courtney Love. Is that correct?
Tom Grant was Courtney Love's private investigator. He worked for her for more than 7 months. So he was hired to find KURT when he disappeared from a Los Angeles drug rehab center. It was him. He was a very respected former Los Angeles police detective. He's never accepted any money for this story. He's been offered a lot of different tabloid offers. He came out publicly, and he said that he was convinced, based on the evidence that he saw, the fact that Courtney had lied to him from the beginning, he was convinced that Courtney was involved in a conspiracy to kill her husband. We investigate in the book, we investigate his accusations, the evidence that he brings forward. We shoot down a lot of his theories, but our conclusion is that we have not seen the smoking gun evidence that Courtney was involved, but we've certainly seen the evidence that this was a murder.
So all I want is to have the case reopened just like they do. I mean, I don't have any accusations.
So what you're saying is that you feel for a fact that Kurt Cobain did not commit suicide.
There's no question based on this evidence.
And you just want an investigation to find out what happened, who did it, and who was involved.
It's in everybody's best interest because also there's been 68 copycat suicides.
John F. Kennedy.